Hello students, welcome to lesson number 27, and today we are going to do the value orientation parts component of semester 1 of UG, BA, BCom, BSc, BBA of first year affiliated to Osmania University. I am Bangla Bharati, Associate Professor of English, BGDC, Vidyanagar, Hyderabad. So before we begin, please subscribe to my channel by pressing the subscribe button, and after that if you press the bell icon, whenever I upload a new video you will get a notification. So let me upload my PowerPoint. Just be online, give me a second. There we go. I hope you can see the complete slide. Value orientation of General English UG first year course textbook. I hope you remember your textbook. This is your textbook prescribed by the Osmania University. In that, this is for BA, BCom, BBA and BSc, the Common Core textbook for semester 1 and 2. It has two parts, part 1 and part 2. Now, you have reading passages of UG semester 1 and 2. Whatever passages, it's a general English made easy general English course textbook. As I told you, it has two parts. Part 1 is for semester 1. Part 2 is for semester 2. Each semester has 4 lessons, and each lesson has, it could be a text, which could be a short story, it could be a poem, it could be a play. It is followed by exercises, and these exercises have the language component, that is development, which will help you improve your English, grammar, vocabulary, spelling. And it also caters to the listening skills, which includes pronunciation, and speaking, the conversation practices or the conversation exercises. Then for writing, you have paragraph, note making, essay writing and other things. And for reading, you have a passage specifically on culture and traditions of the Telangana state. All this, and you also have a soft skills component, which will help you improve your soft skills, your teen skills. These are something which you already have, but through your textbook you will only hone your skills and you will improve on that with little techniques. And then you have a value orientation. Now I'd be dealing with this value orientation part in this particular lesson. Now, what is value orientation? We have studied human values and ethics in your high school, in intermediate, as part of a compulsory paper. What are values? Each individual, each society, each community, each region, religion, country, state, wherever you live, each culture adheres to a specific value system. Now, we all know we are all human beings. Homo sapiens are social animals. They can't live in isolation. If you separate one human being without allowing him to mix with the fellow human beings, then they will go mad. They'll become psychotic, they become neurotic, and all kinds of diseases will happen. So, since we are social animals, we need a society. We need family. We need friends to survive, to support, and live in harmony. Now, because of this COVID-19 scenario, which we never expected before, our movements are restricted. Most of us are restricted to home. Some of us are in home quarantine. You can't go out without a mask. Whenever you go out, you have to wash your hands, and you should be very careful, not touch things here and there, and taking lots of precautions, wearing the mask all the time, unable to meet friends, unable to go out to a movie, to market, to watch a film, or to just hang out near the chaurastas or near your addas. So because of this COVID-19 scenario, we have seen that our social life is restricted. We are forced to live within the space of 4 walls or within your apartments or community. We can't go out. So now we have understood the value of living in a society, in a community. Now, what are value systems? Now, what is a value system? Value systems can be likened to the complex belief system, which is about what is desirable, what is important, and what is not important, what is not desirable. These valuing systems, they represent the core intelligence that guide our behavior. These values impact all the life choices by acting as a decision-making framework or the format. So, if you belong to a particular culture, particular region, particular society, that society has certain framework of values. You will act in that framework. Whatever decision you take, it will be according to the value system in that particular format or a frame. So it pertains to more than merely the content of one's thinking. It provides actually a structure for thinking. These value systems act as both organizing principles and modes of adaptation, albeit that you are not always conscious of their existence. I mean, most of the times you might not know that you have a strict framework or values in your psychology. It is all in the subconscious mind. When suddenly somebody comes before the elders, they don't wish, and you will automatically feel something is missing. Suppose you come to the class, everybody wishes the teacher, but somebody is just sitting and looking elsewhere, not wishing the teacher. So what does it show? That that person is odd person out. When everybody is following a particular set of behavior, this person is different. Therefore, in a society, in a system, subconsciously there are certain rules or behavioral patterns or values. It is a system based on which you act, based on which you work. So these, when you get into the workforce, tomorrow you might enter a multinational company or start a business of your own, or you get a job, government job, wherever you are, that office or that workplace will have a set of rules and value systems in its own. So you will be able to adapt to that new world. So you might not be conscious of what are the rules, but you know that this is a particular behavior we have to follow. You should be telling the truth. You should be always uh, loyal to your company, to your the workplace that has given you a kind of support, the first job. So these systems, they are in the subconscious mind and you will act according to the framework. Now, why are we doing this value orientation? This is like cultivating an awareness of the nature of valuing all the systems that you espouse, which goes a long way in creating an understanding where you are in life, why are you there at that particular point of time. So it can also shed light on the origins of your frustration. If somebody is very, very frustrated for no reason, why? What is the reason? Why is that person so frustrated? Why is he or she not able to fit into a system? So if somebody's behavior is very frustrated, very depressive, he's always or she is always restless and not at home, then you can understand that there is something that's bothering them. Therefore, it will help others and you also to know what your frustrations are, why you are helpless, and what are your ambitions, what are your aspirations in life, what do you want to do, what do you want to become after you complete your undergraduation course or your degree course. So awareness of the valuing systems of others adhere to also can facilitate interpersonal understanding. This will also help you to improve the communication whilst limiting the possibility of misunderstandings. So if you understand your value system, you understand the other person's value system, the system's value system, then you have more understanding, more tolerance towards the other person. Therefore, when there is more tolerance, when there is more understanding, so there will not be any miscommunication, there won't be any misunderstanding. This is the reason why we are focusing on value orientation. Now, what do you have in value orientation? Semester 1, you have some 4 lessons. So 4 value orientation topics, components. Semester 2, you have 4 lessons, then 4 value orientation components. Now, each lesson has a thought-provoking value orientation component. It is usually a proverb, a saying, an idiom, which will make you think It will channel the energy of the youth in positive direction. That is the objective of having this value orientation component in your syllabus. Lesson 1 has the proverb, well begun is half done. Lesson 2, doubt is the beginning of wisdom. Lesson 3, actions speak louder than words. Lesson 4, faith can move mountains. You must have heard all these proverbs sometime or the other in your life. If you haven't, then this is a chance where we will be doing it in detail. How are we going to go about it? Now, today we are going to look at semester 1, lesson 1 and 2, which are in the red color here. Well begun is half done. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom. These two lessons will be doing the value orientation component. Okay, this is from your General English textbook. Semester 1, lesson number 1 and 2. How do we go about it? The topic I'd be introducing, the idiom or phrase or the proverb, then a short explanation. After that, I have actually taken photographs of the text, and that scan shot will be put on the slide. I will give you time to read it. Then, if possible, if we have time, we'll look at some of the videos which are taken from the internet, YouTube mostly, and some of the videos are from fluent2english.com or bbclearnerenglish.com. So most of it I've tried to use videos which are available in English. After looking at the videos, watching the videos, that topic will be reinforced. And after that, we will take a recap of what we have done. This is the format that we are going to do with the value orientation component. So, first one, lesson 1, well begun is half done. What does it mean? Well begun, if you start something well, so the work is already half completed. Here is a short explanation. It's for 30 seconds or 20 seconds. This is from the film Mary Poppins, very, very popular 1960s or 70s film. It's a children's film. Mary Poppins is supposed to be a kind of a fairy who comes to help children who are very naughty, thus disciplining them, teaching them some values, teaching them some ethics, and teaching them some belief systems, helping them to improve their self-confidence. So what is well begun is half done?
First game is called Well Begun is Half Done.
First game is called Well Begun is Half Done.
Our first game.
Who said this? This is actually a quotation by Aristotle. Well begun is half done. That means the best way to get something done is to begin. You start doing it. Plan it. If I give you an assignment in the class and give you a deadline to submit it before, say 2 or 3 weeks later, you have to submit, there's a deadline. How do you begin? Most of the time, some students, they wait till the deadline, and 1 day or 2 days before, when everybody is submitting, that's when they get all worked up, tensed. So whenever this assignment topic is announced, then itself you start collecting the material. When you start collecting the material, when you prepare yourselves, that preparation is itself means you are halfway, you have started. So the best way to get something done is to begin. If you have begun it properly, that means half the work is over. Because we always live in a fantasy world, but never try to make our dreams real. In order to make our dreams real, we have to start from somewhere. You have to begin. And beginning with a little preparation, it means half the work is already done. Now this is your text part. I have put a close-up of this text. Maybe I'll try to shift my video somewhere here. I'll give you 3 minutes time to read it. Read it and try to understand. Then I'll again read it for you. I'll keep the time for you. So 2 minutes. You can pause the video or take a screenshot and you can expand and read the passage. If you have your textbook with you, that's even more better. I can give you the page number. Page number 24 of your text, value orientation. Here, well begun is half done. Page 24, if you have your textbook with you, you can look at it. Otherwise, you can read it from the slide that I have put up here. I'll keep the time for you. It shouldn't take more than 2 minutes to finish reading. Okay, I'll read it for you. Well begun is half done. You can read it along with me. When I'm reading it, you also start reading along with me to catch the speed. Try to see the expression, where to pause, where to stop, where to take breath, where to finally put. When there's a full stop, you stop, you take a breath. When there's a comma, you pause, you take a breath. That's how you usually read. So well begun is half done is a common expression used to suggest that if you begin an assignment well, then completing it will not require as much effort. For example, if you were given the task of making a presentation on a particular topic, it would make sense to begin by researching the topic rather than leaping ahead to creating PowerPoint slides. Collecting all the raw data you will require for the presentation is hard work, but it is necessary. Once it is done, the steps that follow will not be as difficult or time consuming. Another way of looking at this idea is through the example of job interview. Under such circumstances, employers are looking for you to exhibit traits they desire in their employees. If you were to begin the interview poorly, perhaps by arriving late or dressing inappropriately, then you risk your interviewers believing that you do not have a professional attitude, thereby severely reducing your chances of getting the job. So whatever work you are assigned, be it personal or professional in nature, it is always wise to systematically approach the task and plan in advance, prioritizing what needs to be completed first and foremost. This will lead to a good start, and a good start will give you the necessary momentum to complete your work in an efficient, satisfactory manner and help you reach your goal faster. I hope you have understood. Now students, I'm going to show you a short audio clip which is from fluenttoenglish.com, where you have, once you subscribe to that channel, I'll give you the website links at the end of the PowerPoint. You can take a screenshot and you can actually go there and listen to lots of videos. You can learn English by watching lots of videos, that too film clips. Now here is one clip like that. As I told you, Mary Poppins is a very popular film, and she is a kind of a fairy sent by God who comes to young children who are very mischievous to teach them values and other things. Now Mary Poppins, in this particular video, two little children, they want a nanny. Whichever nanny comes, that is a babysitter. They are so naughty that they drive that nanny away. Nobody works in that house. Finally, father gives a paper advertisement, and then Mary Poppins comes to attend the interview. So first is original clip, then you have subtitle viewing, then the keywords, and then the final clip. So listen carefully to the following movie clip.
Now, the qualifications. Item 1, a cheery disposition. I am never cross. Item 2, rosy cheeks. Obviously. Item 3, play games all sorts. Well, I'm sure the children will find my games extremely diverting.
Yeah, I think this paper, where did you get it from? I thought I told you.
Excuse me. Item 4, you must be kind. I am kind, but extremely firm. Have you lost something?
Now with subtitles, try to listen carefully. The more you listen, the better you'll be able to speak.
Now, the qualifications. Item 1, a cheery disposition. I am never cross. Item 2, rosy cheeks. Obviously. Item 3, play games all sorts. Well, I'm sure the children will find my games extremely diverting.
Yeah, I think this paper, where did you get it from? I thought I told you.
Excuse me. Item 4, you must be kind. I am kind, but extremely firm. Have you lost something?
Now here are the keywords. Keywords, qualifications, that are achievements. Cheery is very happy and cheerful. Disposition, the way one looks, the countenance, the character, the personality. Cross is getting angry or annoyed. Rosy is that pink or reddish color. Obviously means clearly. Sorry. Clearly and obviously is clearly. Sorts is types. Adverting is entertaining and amusing, diverting. Tore is break or rip. Firm is very strict and stern. Now you watch the clip again, finally.
Now, the qualifications. Item 1, a cheery disposition. I am never cross. Item 2, rosy cheeks. Obviously. Item 3, play games all sorts. Well, I'm sure the children will find my games extremely diverting.
Yeah, I think this paper, where did you get it from? I thought I told you.
Excuse me. Item 4, you must be kind. I am kind, but extremely firm. Have you lost something?
So this is from the film Mary Poppins. Now the nanny is here. Now, this is, as I told you, she is a fairy. She knows magic and all that. This is another clip from the same film. Now, why I'm showing you these clips is you need to watch as much of English films. If you watch the old films, the classics, you will learn the British English. And British English is what we have been learning it in the school and till the intermediate. So I can give you the list of films to watch, which will improve your English language.
This is your breakfast. There's a lovely view of the park. Well, it's not exactly Buckingham Palace. Still, it's clean. Yes, I think it would be quite sweet. Just needs a touch here and there. Well, first things first. I always say the place to hang a hat is on a hat stand. Oh, this will never. I much prefer seeing all of my face at the same time. But no, it's not, is it? Never judge things by their
Never judge things by their appearance.
I'm sure I never do.
Another proverb.
Thing of beauty is a joy forever.
Thing of beauty is joy forever. Shakespeare's quotation.
A little light, perhaps. She's rich. She's wonderful. Much. Now, let me see. Funny, I always carry a penny. It must be here somewhere. Odd. My tape measure. What do you want it for? I want to see how you two measure up. Come along then. Quickly. Head up, Michael. Don't slouch. Just as I thought. Extremely stubborn and suspicious. See for yourself.
Stubborn and suspicious.
Suspicious. Now you, Jane. Rather inclined to giggle doesn't put things away. How about you? Very well. Hold this for me. As I expected, Mary Poppins practically perfect in every way. Mary Poppins? Is that your name? It's lovely. I've always liked it. Now,
So that's about Mary Poppins.
this is your book.
Once again, well begun is half done. Whenever, whatever assignment you take, if you do the background work and you start working at it, that itself means that your half the work is done already. Another way of looking at an idea is about if you're going for a job interview, be well prepared, including the dress, maintaining the time, place, everything. So if you come late, then it will give a bad impression to the interviewers. If you're dressed well, carry 4 or 5 copies of your resume or biodata with you, that will give a good impression. So always, if you have begun well, if you have started well, that means half the work is already done. So it means have a great start. Now we will look at the second lesson's value orientation component, that is doubt is the beginning of wisdom. This is also a quotation by Aristotle, famous Greek philosopher. It means if you have doubts, your mind is active. And in the process of clearing your doubts, you will start reading, you will start asking questions. Therefore, your knowledge will start growing. So if you have doubts, that means it is very good. That means your wisdom or expansion of knowledge has begun. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom. As I told you, it's a quotation by Aristotle. Watch this short clip, which is for less than 1 minute. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom. So if you have doubt, that means there is uncertainty. There is no clarity. If there is no clarity, you're automatically bound to ask questions. When you start questioning, if you get answers, fine. Otherwise, you search for answers. You do your research. So whatever the new information comes, you will process it. Then you will understand it. When you understand, there is no doubt. This is how, if you have a doubt, it is the beginning of wisdom or creating knowledge. So never blindly follow somebody. Instead, ask questions if you have doubts. What, how, where, when, why, who. Even in the scientific development, Aristotle questioned the notion Earth is flat. Then he proved that Earth is not flat. So whenever you have a doubt, ask questions. Okay? Any questions? Well, so the beginning of wisdom is found in doubting. By doubting, we come to the question, and by seeking, we may come upon the truth. Now, the next slide is the text part of it, which I have taken a picture and put it up on the slide. I'll give you 2 minutes to read it. Your time starts now. I hope you have gone through it. Otherwise, never mind, I will give a reading. You can follow the scan copy here. So to doubt is to be uncertain. This uncertainty leads to questioning facts, figures, and information. This questioning leads to search for new information, the processing and understanding of that particular knowledge, and the eventual arrival at a stage where you can determine what you believe is to be true or not. Therefore, as the expression goes, to doubt is beginning, not the end of wisdom. This saying emphasizes the importance of not blindly accepting what others tell you or conforming to what others do. Instead, you should always be persevering in the search for truth. So history has taught us that questioning accepted laws often yields spectacular discoveries or inventions. Like when Newton was sitting under an apple tree, the apple fell. So his doubt was, why did it fall down? Why didn't it go up? That questioning, that doubt that he had, what happened later? He could find the laws of gravity. In the same way, so many people had these doubts, and when they work to clarify these doubts, they have resulted in brilliant discoveries and inventions. So Aristotle questioned the notion that the earth is flat, challenging ideas dominant during his time. This is but one simple example, and scientific progress is made along similar lines, with someone questioning the so-called order of the lives. So it is therefore important that students learn to appreciate the importance of asking questions, especially if you do not understand or do not believe the information that you are given. This is a vital part in the process of learning, and one that can boost your self-confidence. So as an activity, when you get back to the classes, you can sit with 4 students in a group and you can write the list of doubts you have in the English class. Why is it that you're not able to ask a doubt? When we ask a question, why is it that you're very silent and you look here and there, hoping that the teacher won't catch you or maintain an eye contact so that somebody else will look and somebody else will answer. Always you avoid the glare of the teacher, not maintaining the eye contact. So when you do this activity, or just sit and draw a list, write a list of points where all you had doubts, what is it that's stopping you from asking a question or clearing a doubt? Once you write those points, you will understand clearly that when you come to us, we will clear those doubts and we'll clear those notions, and we can help you to become more and more self-confident. Now, I would like to show this small video of our great missile man, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He has given advice to students, 4 principles of success and how do you accept failure. He says, accepting accepting failure or being prepared to fail is also very important in students' life. Watch it.
We should know how to handle, not only how to handle success, how to handle the failures. Particularly you are in the management environment, I want the young people to understand how to manage the failure. Because any task you do, you have to come across problem. Problem should not become the captain of the individual or a project chief. The project chief should become the captain of the problems and defeat the problem and succeed. Learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. History has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all the human limitations. In every field of human endeavor, whether science, medicine, sports, arts, or technology, the names of the people who imagined the impossible are engraved in our history. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they change the world. You take C.V. Raman, you take Newton, you take Einstein, you take Chandrasekhar. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they change the world. If you want to be discoverers, if you want to be innovators, I am going to give you what type of characteristic you must have. Invention and discoveries have emanated from creative minds that have been constantly working and imagining the outcome. The telephone, he was imagining the outcome in the mind. With imaging and constant effort, all the forces of the universe work for that inspired mind, thereby leading to invention and discoveries.
Sir, I would like to hear from you a few tips for the upcoming generation to succeed in life.
Well, succeeding life, I have already told you.
Yes.
You have to do 4 things, okay? Number 1, great aim.
Great aim.
I will have great aim.
I will have great aim.
I will continuously acquire knowledge.
Continuously acquire knowledge.
I will do hard work.
I will do hard work.
I will persevere
I will persevere
and succeed.
and succeed.
Okay, that's the mantra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You have many accomplishments. You've written books. You've served as president. You're an aerospace engineer. You've been a professor. But you say the title you like best is the title of teacher. Why is that?
You know, I had a teacher when I was a young boy, 10 years boy. Wartime, the Second World War going on. At that time, I used to see in my class, 5th class teacher, in science teacher, he entered the classroom and we used to see the radiation of knowledge from him. When he enters the classroom, my teacher, I see a radiation of purity of life. And the way he taught, my dream got shaped. What should be my way of life? He is the person, the teacher gave me the vision of my life when I was a young fellow. Now a teacher has got a fantastic opportunity to grow minds, to enrich the minds, and give the dreams to the young people and nurture the dreams with them, and they will become a great human being. Sometime they will become better than you, but better than the teacher. So that opportunity you have. I will have great aim. I will continuously acquire knowledge. I will do hard work. I will persevere and succeed.
So what are the 4 tips? I will have great aim. I will continuously acquire knowledge. I will persevere and work hard. And I will get successful. So these are the 4 tips that our erstwhile President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man, has to give to the youth. So aim high, persevere, work hard, and remember, well begun is half done. And all doubts, if you have, that means your knowledge has started. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. Now we'll look at the recap of the value orientation component of lesson 1 and 2. We have done the introduction. We looked at the topics and we have watched the short video clips. We have read the text scan slides. And finally, we have concluded with the video clip of APJ Abdul Kalam on 4 rules or 4 tips to success and importance of handling failures. Don't worry if you fail. That means failures are stepping stones to success. They will help you to strengthen your determination. They'll help you to overcome your weaknesses. So failures are very important in life. Now, students, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And whenever we upload a new video, you will get a notification. And if you have any doubts, do mention those doubts in the comments section that is below the video, and I will revert to you. So remember, well begun is half done. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. Wishing you good luck. Stay home, stay safe. When the college begins, when you are going out to pay your fees or whatever, see that you maintain social distancing, wear your masks all the time. And whenever you go out and you come back, wash your hands with soap as many times as possible, use sanitizer, and stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. We'll meet again in the next class.